Okay, so I'm not feeling great this morning. I just wanted to let you know that. I just keep getting like waves of like dizziness and a little bit of heat. So this has been happening to me on and off for a while. I'm sure it's nothing serious. It could be just like hormonal stuff, but I wanted to give you a heads up in case I just stop suddenly. I'll try to keep talking, but that's where I'm at. So I feel good enough to do it, but who knows what's going to happen. So it'll be an adventure. Okay, are we ready? Let's do it. Go ahead and come on down to a child's pose, unless you're super comfortable in a position that you're already in and you don't want to change. But I thought it might be nice to have a change of pace, and I never start in child's pose, so let's try that. Going to be working through lots of spine stuff today. Some feel-good moves. I would say most of what we're going to be doing is going to be fairly typical for the kind of practice that you're used to coming from me. Sometimes I like to shove a yoga block underneath my trunk so that I don't have to get so deep into my hips and my ankles. So you could try that if your body isn't quite ready for the depth of a child's pose. Arms can just relax out in front of you. They don't have to be reaching for anything. You can even take them down beside your body. And just start to settle your breath. Taking as much as you need, and then letting it just slip away nice and slow out of your nose. Enjoying less rushing. If your forehead is making contact with your yoga mat, something you might try that I really like is just start to turn your head or rock yourself. So you can either kind of rock your whole body in a little shift side to side, or you could just kind of turn your head a little bit. Sometimes I get my hips involved and I kind of drop my right hip towards my right heel a little bit more, and back and forth. Or you could even pull your ribs side to side. Shifting, swaying. And then let's walk the fingertips out, away from your body a little bit more, and also a little wider. So maybe even off of your yoga mat. Come up onto your fingertips and lift your palms. And then think of hollowing out your armpits, reaching from that outer border and maybe pulling in from the inner corner of your shoulder and armpit. And then just walk both arms over to the right a little bit more. So you're on an arc, finding a bit more space and length through that left side. And your right hand could come down beside you, making kind of a push-up foundation. And then experiment with lifting the left shoulder off the mat a little bit and kind of peeking underneath your left arm. And then lowering your left arm down and kind of twisting slightly open to the right. Really subtle upper body rotation. And you could even roll in your forehead as you do that as well. Walk yourself back through the center. Come up onto your fingertips again. Let your chest melt down. And pull up your arms a little bit off the floor. And then stretch over to the left side, reaching a little further through the right side of your body from your hip to your fingertips. And you can add in that other variation of a mild upper T twist if that feels good. And then bring yourself back towards the center. And let's get the hips up a little higher here. So you can walk your knees back and drop your hips right over your knees. Arms can be wide out ahead of you. And then again, let's melt the chest down. It feels a little bit like puppy pose. You don't have to go super low into this, but obviously if it feels good, it's fine. Let your tailbone lift a little bit higher. And then think of dropping your tailbone down towards your heels. So it's almost like you're just trying to move cat-cow in your pelvis as you keep a little bit of extension in your upper back. And then rise up to that tabletop position and just start to freestyle movement through wrist intentions or some spine movements. You can circle through your hips. You could stretch your toes. Let's take just like a minute or so organizing our own desired movements. Some of my favorite movements that I've ever kind of slipped into by accident, transitions especially, if I just try not to think too much and instead just let my body lead me. I guess you could call that a form of intuition. Let's come back to that tabletop. Step your right toes backwards so you can open up the back of your right knee, and then just rock forward and back on your right toes. Really push through the ball of your foot and your toe pads to rock that heel forward. And then intentionally drag your heel towards the wall behind you. And switch sides. A little bit of ankle love, stretching into the back of your calf. Firing up the quad and the front side. And then set your knees a little wider. Come back to that childlike position. So drop your hips back. You could sit on a yoga block here. Left hand is going to stay on the mat. Right hand's going to come to the back of your head. Lift your chest off the floor a little bit higher, and then turn your chest open to the right. And then crisscross and try to reach your right elbow underneath your left arm. 2 more times. You could inhale to open and exhale to twist, or vice versa. I kind of like the other way lately. It's just something different. And then switch sides. Let's do 3 of those. Keep your pelvis pretty still and try to get your upper body to move through your spine and your rib cage. Shoulders helping a little bit too. Last one. Great job. All right, let's go down dog from here. Really exaggerated pedal for a few moments to let your hips sway. Come up high onto the ball of your feet and then drop your heels as low as they'll go. And then set your feet nice and wide on your mat and walk your hands back towards your toes. Bend your knees a little bit more if that feels better in your back and hammies. And then just let your spine kind of rock and sway. Left hand can come down onto a yoga block or fingertips to the mat. Right arm's gonna lift. As you bend your left knee a lot, rotate that chest open to the right side. Rotate your right wrist, a couple directions, or a couple rounds each direction. And then circle your right shoulder at least once or twice in both directions. Like a super relaxed shoulder car, not worrying about compensations here, we're just moving. And then cross your right arm underneath you and hold onto your left shin and try to spin your chest open to the left. And then just dangle and sway, let your arms hang. Bend your right knee, right hand down. Open up left with your chest, wrist rotations. Shoulder circles. Painting every corner of the room with those fingertips. Thread your left arm underneath you, hold onto your right leg. Try to twist your chest to the right. You can do whatever you want with your right arm. And come back to the center. Keep your feet kind of wide like this. Walk your hands forward and come to your first plank. And then with your feet this wide, really press your toes into the ground and also the knuckles of your hands. Drop your hips just a little bit, but think about curling your tailbone between your legs. So it feels like you're going to up dog, but I want you to still think of almost cat pose in the upper back. Just let your hips sink slightly and then press back downward dog. Let's do that twice more. Shift forward like you're coming to plank. Tuck your bum under and squeeze your glutes. Keep your upper back rounded as well. Back to down dog. Deepening your hip creases. Last one like that. Lift the heels, shift forward. Think of cat pose. Tuck your tail. Back to the downward dog. Step your feet a little closer for a regular stance. Lift your heels nice and high. Pivot your heels to the right. Left foot could step behind. You could really dip your hips down and back towards your back leg if you wanted to bend your knees and kind of crouch low. You can just let your hips sway. Let's go the other direction. Toes right, heels left. Bend and squat a little bit. Downward face. Heels nice and high, walk forward. Uttanasana, top of your mats. Come up halfway and inhale. Forward fold. Rise to stand, strong foundation, root down. Grab your left wrist, side bend to your right. Try to keep your ribs set down as part of your core. Reach back through center, do an air pull-up. Draw your shoulders down and your elbows try to tuck behind you. Raise it up, hold your your right wrist. Arc your body to the left. One more center air pull-up. And then we'll hinge and fold. Step back to tabletop position. Right side hip rotations. Let's just do 2 each direction. Do try to create a little more stability through your container here. And keep your right leg back here. Keep squeezing behind your knee. Tuck your left toes under and really push into your left toes. And now try to lift your hips up and back for that down dog splits. Breathe in. Exhale, step forward with your right foot. Open your chest to the right, runner's twist. 2 hands to the floor, step forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Rise and stand. We've got side bends with an air pull-up in between. So going both ways at your own pace with your breathing. In that air pull-up, you could choose to add a little bit of spinal extension, like a upright camel pose if that feels good. Dive down. When you're finished with that set, step back to tabletop position. Set up your firm base. 2 hip rotations each direction. You could alternate for a total of 4. 2 and 2 is fine too. Try not to let your pelvis open. Reach your left leg back when you complete that 4th one and then tuck your back toes. Drive into the floor with those toe pads. Send your hips high. Left leg reaches. Inhale. Exhale, step it through to that runner's twist. Open up left. Set it back down. You're stepping forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Rise. Side bends. With an air pull-up. In between, we'll alternate. except I forgot to alternate. We'll meet in that forward fold. Step back to tabletop, and once you get set up with your toes tucked, lift both knees about an inch off the ground and maintain neutral spine curves. Cat-cow with your knees hovering. Lift the tail, pull the heart forward, tuck and round. Try not to change the position of your feet, hands, or knees. Just move your spine. Lower your knees. Reset your hands off to the right on a diagonal from your body. Keep them shoulder width. 2 cat-cows from here with lateral flexion in the spine. Move it over to the left. Find that longer spine on the right side. A little bit more containment on the left side. Changes things a little bit. More rib stretch, perhaps. Beautiful. Back to tabletop. Stretch your right leg back and your left arm forward. Balance it out nice and level. As you pull your right knee to the outside of your right arm, draw your left arm back like you're rowing. And your elbow. 2 more times, like a crunch kind of. But try not to change the position of your spine. Put the work instead to your hip and your shoulder. Last one. Reach your right leg back, but set your left hand back down. Tuck your left toes. Raise that right leg up and back. Down dog splits. Push. Breathe in. Exhale, step forward, runner's twist. Open it up. Step forward, set your feet for fierce pose, Utkatasana. 5 breaths. Let's heat up that middle section a little bit, filling up that 3D breathing area, front, back, and sides of the ribs. Heavy heels, light toes. Find a position for your arms that is suitable for your shoulders and your neck. Rise to stand, 1 arrow pull up, little curl back this time. So consciously contracting your upper back muscles, squeeze, reach up, forward fold. Step back to plank this time. Pull hands to toes, toes to hands, maintain your line. Pull it to the floor for 5, 4, slow, 3, 2, all the way down, untuck toes, a little cobra. All the way down, a little higher cobra or an upward dog. Downward dog in your own time. Take 5 breaths in the down dog. A little more space throughout your spine column. Lower your knees, come back to that quadruped position. Reset your foundation so it's nice and even. Right arm forward, left leg back. And then we've got those hip and shoulder pulls. Try to keep your back level to the horizon. More hip, more shoulder. Last one. Right hand comes back down. Keep your left leg reaching if you can. Tuck your back toes. Reach up and back, down dog splits. Nice long inhale there. Step forward to that runner's twist. Step forward and make your fierce pose fierce. Lift your heels if you want to. Spread out your toes, but try to keep them relaxed and instead really pin down at the big toe knuckle and the pinky toe knuckle for 5, 4, 3. Heels up if you want to. Stand all the way up. Squeeze your buns. Try that pull up this time with the heels up. You can lift your sternum if you want to and try to curl back. It changes things a little bit. Inhale to reach. Exhale, heels down and fold. Step back to the plank. Open up to the right side, so you're going to come into a side plank on your left. Raise your top arm and breathe in. And then as you exhale, you're gonna wind your right arm towards your bottom heel and lift your hips in a pike. Let's try that again. Find the plank, inhale. Exhale, pike, twist, and reach. One more time. Hips go up and back. Reach that right arm across. Regular plank. Pull halfway or all the way down. Find a spine strengthening position. Back to plank. Spin heels right, toes left. Set your feet however you can manage that pike position as you exhale, reach left hand to that bottom leg foot. Find your rhythm. 2 more. Last one. Lift and twist. High plank we go. Breathe in. Exhale, pull halfway or all the way down. Open your chest. Down dog. Settle in. Step, walk, or hop forward. Pretty close stance for that fierce pose. Sit your seat down and back, hands to heart and the chair this time. Try to get your forearms level with the horizon here so you have that good wrist extension. And the tendency here when we turn is to pull with the arms. I want you to think of core twisting. Rotate your core as much as you can to the right before you set your elbow down onto your leg. And then really press your top hand into your bottom hand. Try to think of lifting your sternum towards your thumbs. Breathe. Left shoulder down away from your ear. Keep pulling it back. Back to the center. Same thing. Twist, twist, twist through the spine. Then use your arm. Reset yourself. Try not to force things here. Balanced effort between the spine muscles and the arms to hold you. Seat a little lower. Breathe. Forward fold. Hips go high. Pedal your legs. Let your head be heavy. Plant your hands down like strong plank hands and then step it back, high plank. Pull halfway or all the way down. Lift your chest, fire up your backside. Cobra or up dog, downward face. Okay, we're gonna dial the left toes out so that that left foot is set on a diagonal like we do for Warrior One. So left toes at about 45 degrees from the heel. Step your right foot forward. Warrior One. Hips mostly facing the front of the room, but it's okay if they're not, right? We're not trying to cram ourselves into any position. Just making it feel good. Arms to a T or cactus. Turn your chest over towards the right side. It'll probably only go a few degrees. Rise back to the center. Raise your arms. Look up at your thumbs. Exhale, sweep your arms back. Hinge your spine forward and then rotate your palms to face the floor. Rise up again, and this time open to your Warrior Two, so you might have to reset your feet a little bit. Once again, that upper body is going to spin to the front. You could do cactus or straight arms. Back to that regular Warrior Two. Shine your heart towards the long side of your mat. Reverse your Warrior Two. High five the wall behind you with the right palm. Make sure you're not just dumping your head back. Try to get this movement happening here through the rib cage mostly. Runner's twist. Left hand down, left heel up. You can slide your right foot out a little bit. I always have to. Back knee down. Keep your twist. Bring your spine upright. Reach your left arm forward. So you're splitting your arms. Optional baby back bend here. Both arms overhead. Hands to your heart. We're twisting again. Left elbow can land somewhere on that right leg. You can stay kneeling, or you can tuck your back toes and lift that back knee. Breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, release your twist and slowly walk yourself towards the left for a side lunge left. High or low. Right toes could lift and pivot upward, especially if your hips are going a little bit lower. And then for those of you that can get kind of low here, if you could sit all the way down and then come back up, you might try that. We're going to work on that again a little bit later. Dripping sweat. I forgot my towel. Push the floor away with your left heel and then just stay low if you can and pivot back to the front. Step back. Optional vinyasa if you want it. Set your right foot so that your toes are on a diagonal from your heel, about 45 degrees of turnout. If it bothers you to step forward like this, don't worry about it. Like you might have to lift your right heel to step forward and then set it back down. Warrior 1. Fine-tuning that position. So ankles, knees, and hips are all providing the same amount of support on both legs. Cactus or T arms, turn your chest a little to the left. Be sure you're not just trying to pull with your shoulders. Back to the front, overhead reaching, and then look up. Change your gaze. Arms sweep down and back, palms face the floor. Rise yourself, set up your warrior 2. New foundation for most of us, so we can get those hips open to the long side. Cactus or T, you're going to rotate back to the front with your sternum. Make it a core twist. So think about how you would do a reclining supine core twist and put that much work into it. Unwind. Warrior 2. Stay in that lunge, so maybe even deepen it a little bit. Reverse. 2 hands to the floor. We're going to take that runner's lunge and twist it. Back knee down, try to keep your spine rotating as you come up to that kneeling twist. And then face forward, just take one inhale here. Exhale, hands to heart, prayer position. Find that rotation once again. You can stay here, or you're going to tuck toes and lift the knee. How can your breathing serve you here? Try to unravel your twist without a spring back and walk yourself low to the right side, side lunge. Since this is our first one, feel free to keep it pretty chill. But as our bodies adapt, we find new normal positions. So if your new normal is the ability to sit all the way down and then come up, try it. That might ask a lot for your ankles and knees at this point. Ground with the right foot, stay low if you can. Come back to the front, step back. Make a flow or a side plank or a down dog. Okay, so we're going to do a portion of that as a flow twice. Right leg up and back, breathe in. Exhale, step forward, warrior A. That'll be an inhale breath. Exhale, twist. Do anything you want with your arms. Just try not to let them lead you. Inhale, forward. Look up. Exhale, hinge and fly your arms. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, warrior 2. Reverse the warrior, inhale breath. Exhale, runner's twist. Inhale here. Exhale, side lunge left. Lower high, breathe in one time. Exhale, come back to the front. Your version of the vinyasa or a simple step back will do. Down dog, just a breath or so. Gather yourself. Left leg will reach. Exhale, step through. It's warrior A. Inhale. Exhale, upper T rotation left. Inhale, center, look up. Exhale, hinge and fly. Rise it up, set up the warrior two. That's an exhale. Reverse, breathe in. Exhale, twisting runner's lunge. Inhale here. Exhale, side lunge right. Take another breath there. And then it's your transition to the front of the mat. Let's do it again. You can flow it first. Right leg high when you're ready. That's your in breath. Strong step forward, exhale. Rise, inhale. Exhale, twist it. Just that upper T. Inhale, neutralize, look up. Exhale, reach your arms back and hinge forward. We got the warrior two. We land on the exhale and just pause there. Reverse. Runner's twist. Side lunge, the other leg. Take it back to the front, and we got one more side. It's all yours. Warrior one. Twisting. Extension. And then we hinge and fly the arms behind us. Warrior two. Adjust. Reverse. Side stretch. Rotate and pivot. Last time to that right side lunge. After you finish this last cycle, take a moment to get a sip of water. Reset your breathing. Take time for just a quick observation of your state. More intentional breathing, especially focused on the exhale phase for relaxation's sake. Downward facing dog. Hips high, heels low. Step your right foot forward. We're going to go crescent this time. So your stance in a crescent could be a little bit longer from front to back and still fairly wide from side to side. And then any arm position will do. Cactus your arms. Bend your back knee, get a little lower. And then just like we did in our warrior one, let's hinge forward about 45 degrees. Try to keep this hip hinge here and twist your chest to the right. Inhale to the center, don't come up, just stay here. Exhale, twist to the right again. Stay low in that back leg for more work. You have one more like this. Now let's find that prayer hand twist. So all you need to do is straighten the back leg, pull your palms together, and use that left elbow to give you a little point of connection. Keep lengthening your spine, but keep your front ribs tucked in slightly so you don't turn this into a back bend twist. Open it up, warrior two. Working that right outer hip to really pull your knee towards the pinky toe side of your foot. Dig a little deeper into that warrior two. Flip your palms open. Now all we're going to do from here is move the rib cage forward and a little bit backwards. This is a small movement, it's pretty subtle. And then keep your ribs reaching back, so towards your left heel, and then reverse your warrior. Side angle, that right leg's getting tired, so if you need to take a little break, do it. We'll just be here for 3 or 4 breaths. Any expression of this pose that suits your mood today. As you come on up, pivot your toes towards the long side, so it's a wide straddle stance. And then however you take your side lunges with the left leg, you can turn your toes out or keep them facing neutral. Go slow. For me, sitting all the way down is actually easier. So if you wanted to do that, you could. But even if you can get super deep here, let's keep a little bit of energy like we're trying to lift up at any moment. So keep pushing into that left foot. Don't let gravity take over here. And then let's make this a little bit of spine rotation. Left elbow can hug inside the left knee. Open your chest to the right. Front ribs might want to get away from you, so zipper them back up. Push the floor away, come to that wide leg position in a fold. So you can just walk your hands forward a little bit or in through your heels a little bit. A shorter stance is going to challenge your posterior stretch. A wider stance is going to be a little bit easier on those tissues. Pivot to a runner's lunge on the right leg. And then let's shorten our stance. Bring that back foot forward and a little bit to the left like a pyramid. Start to straighten your front leg, but not all the way. Hands to your hips. Bring your spine upright to vertical. So it is that pyramid stance. I think I got mine a little wide. I'm going to come up a little higher. And then see if you can still move just your pelvis. Can it still tuck a little bit and tilt forward a little bit? If you can't do that, then maybe shorten your stride a little bit until you can get your pelvis to move, because that's how you're going to be supported in your spine. Take your hands behind your head. Think of zippering your legs up towards each other here. Rotate your ribs to the right. Come back to the center. Take your arms to a cactus. Rotate your ribs to the right. Come back out of it. You're going to work with your neighbor here if you've got a person beside you. 2 straight arms. Rotate your ribs to the right. Keep pulling that left hip forward and the right hip back. Start to hinge and reach with your left arm. Come back up. Same thing. Keep going. Reach forward and keep twisting. Come back up. One more time. We're going to hold any version of a revolving triangle pose. So if you have a yoga block here, it might come in handy. Go ahead and grab it. Or you can take your hand to the floor. And then once again, lengthen as you twist, but be mindful that you're not just trying to back bend here. So a little bit of zipper in the front ribs. Breathe into your back for 5. Two hands to the floor. Lift your right toes off the ground and let your head drop towards your toes, like a pyramid, just by lifting the right foot a little bit. Rebend your front leg, step your left leg way back. Left knee can come down. We're just going to take a little lizard twist here, so shuffling the right foot to the right might be good for you. You can turn your toes out on a diagonal. Just trying to spiral your spine open to the right side. You could work on back leg hamstring engagement if you wanted to pull your heel towards your tush a couple times, just to see how that goes. Unravel your twist. Bring your hands to the inside of that right foot. Step your left foot up to meet your right foot. Malasana, or some version of a squat. If you're fatigued, you could sit your tush down on a yoga block or two. Give yourself that little bit of support from underneath. And then any exit that you like. You can hop back, you could take a crow pose if you're feeling energetic, or just step to a down dog or a child's pose as you're ready. Nice chair. Kind of hanging in your shoulders there, babe. Okay, let's do this. Second side. Jeremiah's going to help me remember the sequence because I've probably forgotten as usual. Let's go left leg, step it forward, and we started in crescent. Cactus arms. Bend that back knee a little bit more and think of neutralizing your spine as far as like the pelvis, slight tuck under. But hinge forward at about 45 degrees. The hard part here is trying to keep that back leg bent. Twist to the left. All core, come back. Try to scissor your legs more, give yourself more stability. Can you do that twice more? On the third rep, we're going to maintain that strong core twist. Straighten the back leg, palms touch. And then you can use the support of your arms, but try to broaden across your chest. So it's not just your arms shrugging here. Back leg a little straighter, a little stronger. Find the warrior two, open it up. And then we have the rib shift. Draw the left ribs forward and the right ribs backwards. Try not to change your foundation much, if at all. Hips stay steady. Last time, keep the right ribs pulling to the back of your mat and then reverse your warrior two. Side angle. Expanding through that front body. Ribs stacking, side body breathing. Keep bending into your left knee for more. Side lunge right, your depth. And then once you get settled where you want to be, remember you're still trying to find some of that ground force reaction as if you could stand up at any moment and then twist. Open up left. Wide leg fold. A little bit of active recovery here. Let's see if we can tap into active hip flexion. So instead of using your arms just to pull you through, can you balance that effort from the front core to close the gap between your upper body and your legs before you add in your arms? Pivot towards runner's lunge, left leg. And then you're going to shorten your stance and turn your right toes out to the side, but keep your feet on train tracks. Pyramid-ish stance, left leg can stay bent. Push the ground away, pull from the hips, backside bum fired up. Stack your shoulders over your hips, and can you move your pelvis? If you cannot, consider shortening your stride from front to back so your hips still are able to support your spine. Cactus your arms. Twist your chest over to that left side. It's probably only a few degrees of rotation at this point. Come back to the front. Let's do it again. And then as we lengthen the arms, that might give us a little more access to shoulder blade stuff that's going to help us twist, 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 twist to the left. Try to max it out. Draw your left hip crease backwards. Pull your right outer hip forwards. Set your rib cage. Keep this position of arms and spine, but just start to hinge and reach your right arm forward as you rotate. Now use your back side. Pull yourself back to vertical. Squeeze. Hinge and reach. Think of this as a rib stretch. Bring it back up. We have one more like that, and then we're going to find that revolving triangle pose. Right hand could come on your block. Try to stay grounded through the outside edge and heel of your right foot. As you find the floor with all 10 fingers, lift your left ball of foot. Toes towards the crown of your head. Find your runners. Step your right foot way back. And then heel toe your left foot out towards the side. Any version of that lizard or dragon, whatever you like to call it, with or without a little spin to the left. I never miss out on an opportunity for hamstring awakening, so I'm going to take some pulses with my right leg. Trying to find that end range. Reset your lunge. Step it forward once again to Malasana. And this time, if you wanted to twist it, you could. I'll show you another version of Malasana where we take the feet into a first position ballet, and then the legs butterfly, and then the arms reach back. So you could try that too. It feels a little bit like crow pose, but staying crouched. Nice spine flexion here, so you might feel a little bit of stretch along the back side if you do the second version. And then any exit we'll do, we'll meet in that down dog one more time. From downward facing dog, send your right leg vertical, and then bend your knee and let your right toes reach over towards the left. Lift your left heel as you start to shift forward. Twist your right knee underneath you to the left. Come onto the inner arch of your left foot or stamp your left foot on the ground, and then kick your right leg all the way through for that falling star. Left arm reaches towards the front of the space. Hips a little higher. Think of this as a right core crunch. Pigeon on this right leg. If you don't like pigeon, you can make it a straight pigeon. Knee and heel in one line. Or you can take your right leg out on that diagonal line if you prefer it. And then regardless of which version you chose, some choices here. A little bit of upper T rotation might be nice. Left forearm down, chest spins open. Bring your hands back underneath you as your support system, and then just rock onto your right seat. Open up to the long side of your mat into a wide straddle. Take your fingertips or your hands behind your head, set your ribs, twist your upper body right. Notice if your hips want to come with, stay grounded there. And over to the left. As you neutralize, sit up a little taller, and then side crunch to the right. And to the left. Take your arms to a T once you come back upright. for as long as you can. I want to try to keep the arms out of this. So you're grounding through the legs and hinging through your hips. The more you press your legs down, the more supported you're going to be. Hinge forward any amount. And when you feel like you can't go any further, then let your arms help you and support underneath you. Rise up. Bend your right knee in, since that's the leg we were on pigeon. Pull your heel as close to your body as you can. And then start to come onto the inside arch of your left foot. So you're in kind of the sideways pigeon pose. Lift your hips and raise your left arm up. Now pivot your left hand to the floor. Set your left toes for down dog and step back. Reach your left leg nice and high. Bend your left knee, pull your heel towards your tush, and reach with that left leg over to the right side. Lift your right heel. As you shift towards a plank, left knee is going to snuggle in towards that right elbow, twisting across you, and then shoot it through. Outside edge of left foot, inside arch of right foot, or you can stamp your foot down. Think of a rainbow underneath you, so trying to create that arc. Yeah, good. And then straight pigeon, or a regular pigeon pose. Option to take that rotational variation. Slowly come on up, find that straddle again. This time, we're going to cross our arms in front of us like we do sometimes for our spine cars. Rotate to the right and rotate to the left. And then side bend to the right and to the left. Now as you bring your spine up, arms to a T, thumbs down, palms facing behind you. And now try to bring your palms closer to each other. So you're getting into a lot of shoulder extension here. Even if you can bind today, I want you to try not to, but keep your arms as close as you can together. And then start to tip your pelvis forward and fold as far as you can fold without using your arms. How low can you get your trunk towards the ground? How high can you get your arms? When you've had enough of that, try for 1 or 2 more breaths and then use your arms for support. You can take them anywhere you like. Go ahead and sit up, rebend your left knee, and try to get your heel as close to your body as you can. Left hand down, rise your hips, pivot on that right leg so you're in that kind of falling star pose but with a bent leg. Plank foundation with the hands. Tuck your right toes, step back, down dog. Last vinyasa here, inhale, pull forward, plank. Halfway or all the way, pull all the way down. Heart lifts. Strong backside. Child's pose. You just take a moment to compare without judgment how you're feeling now versus that first child's pose. Notice ankles, toes, knees and hips, spine and shoulder sensation. And let's transition onto our backs, any way that feels right. I'm going to give you just a couple of moments to work on either a little bit of twisting on your back or some sort of a bridge progression or anything else that feels appropriate. If you have a second side to visit, do that fairly soon. How's your breathing going? More spaces, perhaps. Maybe not more volume, but more time there. More ease, less effort. More simplicity, more subtlety. And then let's find a rest, everyone. totally fine to just lay here for a little while if you're not ready. Before you do anything with your body, just check back in with how your body is as it's still. Feel your skin, feel the points of contact between you and the floor. Notice the inner workings of your breath. And then notice how that breathing from the inside can shape the outside of your body or affect your mental fluctuations. Those two things are so closely related. We take that for granted sometimes because our breath is just automatic. See if you can create a little more space with every inhale into your back, into your sides, into your front. And then like little ribbons through your body, create touch points with your inhale all the way down to your toes to connect there. Little movement, spreading, wiggling, pointing and flexing. And then travel that awareness down to your hands, move your fingers, wrists. Turn your head a little bit. Bend your knees and set your feet wide. Let your hips start to rotate. They can go together, they can go opposites. And then let's make a little bit of spine flexion here before we move on. Tuck your legs in. Hold the backs of your legs or your shins. And then curl your shoulders up. Try to bring your forehead closer to your knees. Rock a little bit to the left. Feel yourself balancing there. And to the right. If you like the rocking and the rolling, you can use that as your transition or lay on your side for a bit. And we'll meet in a seat. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you have an awesome weekend. Take care of yourselves. Namaste. 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 Even if it's just one namaste back, it's nice.